Let's talk a little bit more about this whole engagement process. So can you give me a little bit more detail on how you work with your industry partners and regulators, how that dialogue is undertaken, and the key areas that you're looking to focus on going forward?
So this starts and stops at the end of the day with IBM's position as the leading technology provider to the financial services industry. So the way we would engage with both our partners, who might be on the banking side or it might be on the regulatory side, is to go and get into this debate around the art of the possible based on the expertise and capabilities that IBM can bring, knowing our own role. So our role here is really around supercomputing and analytics. This is ultimately the differentiation here about how you would build out some sort of system, multiple systems that would allow you to start to measure a lot of these activities. So there are some precedents. For example, IBM built and we run CLS Bank, and that was a G7, might have been G5 mandate to go and basically deal with intraday settlement risk in foreign exchange. Now that level of data is somewhat more simple than measuring systemic risk, but there are examples of where companies like IBM can be in the center of new models here. So the way we engage is really to go with our business knowledge and our technology knowledge, and we combine the two. So typically here we are working with IBM Research, so we have a big technology research division. We have a business research division, the Institute of Business Value. We've currently launched a report where we interviewed 2,500 odd C-level executives. A lot of information in there about what we need to do around systemic risk and challenges within the marketplace. We then create what we think is a good way forward, and now we're trying to work pragmatically in a very complex environment with a number of our major clients to help them both improve their own business models. So there's a lot of work here within the banks themselves, as we mentioned earlier, to look at how you do better risk management, how you do better information, how you do better analytics. And then, of course, on the regulatory side, things don't move quite so quickly as they do in the industry. They may, but they haven't thus far. So it's a long play. We have to go and keep informing people, and we've been very open. So we've not done this in a deliberately public forum like, splashing adverts all over the place, but we've done it in a way that everywhere we've gone, we've been very open about other conversations we've had. Clearly, if they were confidential, they stayed confidential. But in terms of trying to share the approach, I think has helped us get this far. So we will continue to do that. So it's an ongoing process here, and we don't expect there to be one answer. We don't expect there to be one systemic risk regulator. There will be a number of solutions which IBM and other firms will have ample opportunity to help out with.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the key challenges are going to be, though, throughout this process from your point of view?
Well, I think the pragmatic key challenge is data. So how do you get to the data you require, and how do you roll that data up in a format that is easily collectible, and then you can analyze that data. Now that's hard work in the short term. That can be solved. So that's one problem. That's a real practical issue. The other issue, though, is still the complexity of, we talked about interconnectedness in the market. Well, now we've got a problem of interconnectedness in the regulatory regime. So we're still waiting for a number of things to be advanced. We're still waiting for the bodies to be pronounced in terms of who's going to take on this mission. We have some clues about who that might be. But the ongoing difficulty is really to make sure this is very consistent. So there is a national interest, and we need to make sure that we, amongst other people, are out there informing and advising that if we're going to do this big data collection, that let's make sure we're talking the same thing as globally as we possibly can. And, regulation is largely a political side of the house, so it's very difficult, of course. Things take longer. There's lots of lobbying around that, but I think there's a will here. So it's a very, very complex thing. It's not easily, it's easy to write up what the solution may be, but of course it's never going to be that simple. So it's an ongoing effort, I think, and that's going to be the difficulty of keeping current with this, keeping everybody's focus. We've just come through a quarter where the industry's made a lot of money. That may not last, but they've had a good quarter. And, you know, I think Geithner said this, we have to move while the memory's fresh, in effect. So if we lose this opportunity, then we shouldn't be surprised in 4 or 5 years if there is another blow-up, and then we all decide, well, we could have done something about that, perhaps.